Ian over Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So it happened again. We're at the end of another season of soccer, and it was award ceremony time on the weekend, and they did it again. I wasn't there for it, but they did the award ceremony, and they chose the MVP, most valuable player of the year for my son's soccer team. And after a slow start, my son was definitely in the top one or two players. But I wasn't expecting anything because there was a few other good players in the team this year, so I was like, whatever. Anyway, they gave it to this kid, Asian kid, who did fuck all. Did fuck all season. I didn't even know he was playing. I'm like, how did he get MVP? What the fuck is going on with this voting system? And so when my son got home, I wanted to get to the bottom of this. I'm like, who won MVP? And he told me the kid. I'm like, how? I didn't want to be too blatant. I'm like, okay, yeah, is he a good player, is he? And my son's like, he's okay. I'm like, but is he the best player? And he's like, no, he's not the best player, but that's not who we voted for. And I'm like, who did you vote for? And he's like, we had to choose the player that smiled the most. I'm like, what? The player that smiled the most? He's like, yeah, you know, like the happiest player, the player that was always like smiling and happiest at training and the game. I'm like, what? Who gives a fuck about that? Another trophy stolen out of the hands of my son to give to some smiley Asian kid. Last year was the friendliest Asian. This year it's the smiliest Asian. What the fuck is going on? Do we go down to the orchestra, which is just full of Asians, and we go, just give it to the most like pale, like round-eyed. We'll give it to the roundest-eyed. Oh no. Can't do that. There's a couple of Koreans there. Jesus Christ, this podcast has really had a racist edge to it since, well, at least since Immigration Day Parade. Is that what it was called? Anti-immigration celebration. Oh, fuck, who gives a shit anyway? We're all smiling on the inside, aren't we? Anyway, I'm just going to get to it. It's Monday, and you know what that means. It's Ask Boyle time. So if you have a question, start sending in your questions for one of the greatest minds of the generation or any generation. Comedian, philosopher, waterproofer. That sounds so fucking weird. I was even YouTubing waterproofing the other day, yesterday. In my free time, I was like, I just want to check how you do corners properly. Anyway, Le Boyle. Then head to my website, boylecomedy.com. Send in your Ask Boyle question. Once you do that, send in a story. Fucked Up Friday stories and questions. Get them in. If you're in a pickle and you need some help, give Boyle a yelp. Ugh. Ugh. But send me in some stories as well. Anyway, let's get to this week's fucking Ask Boyle. Okay, so this week's Ask Boyle was sent in by fucking Big Al out there in Houston, fucking Texas. So here it is. After today's revised Fed policy statement, Jay Powell, Jackson Hole, it looks like we're in for a rate cut, and today in the USA, August 22nd, we are seeing the market / BTC rip. Iron up a lot today, hitting 21 USD. Is this the beginning of the end for the melt up? What are your thoughts about selling down or staying on the sidelines for both stocks and Bitcoin? I believe Jay Powell, that's Jerome Powell, by the way, the head of the Federal Reserve in the USA, the guy who controls monetary policy. I believe Jay Powell will keep the ship steady as we see rising inflation and tariff effects in fall 2025. But by spring 2026, we may see declines due to new Fed Reserve chair under Trump, leaning to more of Trump's, in my opinion, stupid opinions combined with feeling the full effects of tariffs and a cooled labor market. Just my thoughts, not investment advice. Thanks, Big Al, Houston, Texas, wannabe oil man. Well, Ali G, you have come to the right place. So it's a little bit delayed. You sent that on the 22nd. What is it today? It's like the 1st. Iron is up from 21 when you sent that, and now it's perched around 27. Bitcoin's down. It's chopping around the 106, 107, 108, 109 area. It's not looking strong, but it's not looking weak. It's sort of consolidating around there, seeing what's going on. Inflation data, you might as well throw that in the bin. Everyone who's living anywhere knows inflation's around about the 6, 7, 8, even 9% per annum. So you don't really need to look at the fucking inflation numbers. That's just fucking smoke and mirrors. The Fed will do whatever the fuck it wants to do. It's not trying to do anything really. The Fed is meant to be independent, but it's really swayed politically. Stocks at the moment, stocks seem to be pretty fucking flat too. Everything seems a little bit flat. But what I was listening to the other day, technically when I was calling things a melt up, the technical definition, well, this is what the person I was listening to was saying. A melt up is when the market's already going up, it's steadily going up, and then it fucking rips just before a big crash. And that doesn't seem to be what's happened yet. I think we've still got fucking some runway before we see a big crash. And we haven't seen like a mega melt up yet. There hasn't been like crazy euphoria, animal spirits in the air, people going mental. Maybe it won't come, but usually it comes in a melt up just before a crash. And there hasn't been a big print yet. There hasn't been that like interest rates down to zero, huge liquidity injection into the economy, which they do just before the crash. When you see all these signs, when you see the melt up, when you see the rates down to zero, when you see the money being poured into the economy, when you see the stocks going berserk, when you see meme coins, this is when you're going to know the melt up's on its way to being over. When you see meme coins and the altcoins and all the absolute rubbish, when everyone starts to go mental about them again, then we're at the beginning of the end. Remember last fucking bull run? I was telling you my electrician mate was giving me tips on the stock market. And I asked him who he was getting the tips off. And he said it was the guy who delivers bread to his wife's cafe, the cafe his wife works at. So the bread delivery guy was on the stock market. That's when you know you're in the middle of a bull run that's about to end. Everyone's an expert. There hasn't been those signs yet. I think probably there's going to be some sort of negative event. I would say the US or Israel are going to hit Iran again. I think it's going to be an orchestrated thing. It's going to look like they're going to go into war against each other, but the market will take a big tumble then, and then it will absolutely fucking rip, and it will probably rip into the start of 2026, and then you need to be thinking about what the fuck is going on. But yeah, things are in a weird little spot here, but generally August and September's a little bit fucking choppy. October, November, December, we'll see what happens then, and then maybe early next year. But stay vigilant, that's what I say. Anything could happen at any time, so you just want to be right next to the button. But yeah, you're right. Apparently it's like 99% sure Jerome Powell is going to cut interest rates in September, and probably again before the end of the year. which is silly because you've got strong fucking jobs at the moment and the inflation numbers are whatever they are. Inflation is going up, so you wouldn't really want to be cutting interest rates. But there's also this economist that I've been listening to that I trust, one of the only ones. And he seems to think that there is a positive relationship between interest rates and growth. So conventional thinking is when you lift interest rates, the economy shrinks. And when you drop interest rates, the economy grows. But this guy, Richard Werner, seems to think that empirically, if you raise interest rates, you actually get a stronger economy. And if you drop interest rates, you get a weaker economy. And so interest rates back down to zero, the euphoria may only last like a month or two before reality really kicks in. So we just got to fucking keep an eye on what's going on. Anyway, fucking thanks for the question. I tell you what I've been watching. I've been watching those fucking Texas oilmen, the chain boys or whatever the fuck they call themselves. I wouldn't mind getting out there on an oil rig if I go to fucking Texas and fucking throwing some chain around, seeing if I can keep up with the fucking boys. So fucking hit me up if I get out there. Remind me I said this. Anyway, fucking Al, thanks for the question. That'll do for tonight and I'll see you the fuck later.